My wife held my hand on a dream vacation while lying to my face. But I smiled, because I was already planning her downfall. She didn't know the real game had just begun. Let's begin. The sun dipped low over the sapphire blue waters of Maui, casting amber light across the private balcony of the villa. The wine in Kelly's glass shimmered like blood, and her laughter, once musical, now sounded mechanical. I had brought her here for our 10th anniversary, hoping to rekindle what I thought was just a faded spark. But beneath her forced smile, I saw a stranger. My name is Noah Whitaker, 39 years old, a financial advisor, loyal to the bone, married to Kelly for over a decade, and I thought we were solid. Until this trip. The first sign, she started taking late solo walks on the beach, claiming she needed space to think. Then came the spa days that ran well into the night. But it wasn't until I saw her whispering to a stranger outside our hotel bar, laughing in that same way she used to laugh with me, that the dam broke inside me. I didn't cause a scene. I didn't scream. I waited. One night, she left her laptop open while getting ready for a massage. I was sipping bourbon on the balcony, trying to decide if I was being paranoid. Curiosity got the better of me. The screen was still on. Her messenger app was open. At first, I thought it was a work message. But then I saw, he still has no clue. I'll be there tonight. Same room. God, you make me feel things he never could. Counting down to our next escape. I froze. The name on the thread? Chase Jordan. A personal trainer she'd mentioned once or twice, supposedly in the gym at her office building. I didn't click further. I didn't need to. My fingers shook, but not with sadness. Something else stirred. Something colder, sharper. I closed the laptop and made a decision. I would not explode. I would not beg. I would not confront. I would dismantle her world. Calmly, quietly, thoroughly. That night, when she returned, glowing and smelling like another man's cologne masked under rose-scented oil, she curled into me and whispered, "I feel closer to you again. This trip is saving us." I smiled and kissed her forehead. I'm glad. But inside, I had already started my own trip, straight to war. Over the next 3 days, I played the doting husband. I took her to dinner, took a couple selfies, held her hand during beach strolls, all while forwarding every message to a cloud drive. I began logging her GPS location against the places she claimed to be. Every lie became another receipt. And Chase. Oh, I learned everything. Chase was 32, fit, a wannabe lifestyle coach with a flashy Instagram. He lured wealthy, disillusioned women with affirmations and abs. Kelly was just one of many. I even found photos of them together, laughing at the same beach where I had proposed 10 years ago. The same beach where she wore white and cried when I got down on one knee. That picture broke something in me. But still, I didn't act. I moved our joint savings to a trust under my name. I logged out her access from financial apps and began signing up for private mailboxes and digital banking. I had backup storage, 2 burner phones, and a plan. I scheduled a meeting with a lawyer the same day we returned to San Diego. Everything was silent, subtle, surgical. On our final night, she came back late again, hair tousled, heels in hand. "Sorry, babe," she giggled. "They offered me an extra facial at the spa." I poured her wine. "You deserve it," I said. Later that night, as she nestled into my chest, whispering that she'd never felt so healed, I whispered back, "Me too, Kelly. I feel like I'm finally awake." She didn't know she had just said good night to the man who would erase her entire illusion by dawn. We landed back in San Diego on a warm Wednesday. As the plane taxied to the gate, Kelly leaned over, kissed my cheek, and whispered, "Thank you for everything, Noah. That trip meant more to me than you know." I nodded. "Of course. I'm glad we did it." She smiled and went back to texting. Probably him. I had already signed a temporary lease across town under an LLC I registered weeks ago. By the time we unlocked our front door, everything was in motion. My attorney was prepping court papers. My financial advisor had helped restructure assets in a way she couldn't trace. All that remained was the final play. But I didn't rush it. The first 48 hours were critical. I needed her to believe nothing had changed. So I unpacked. I cooked her dinner. We even watched a movie, and I pretended to laugh. She smiled in a way that said, "I still have him wrapped around my finger." She had no idea I was collecting her lies like trophies. The next day, while she was at her team-building retreat, I logged into our shared bank accounts and froze her cards. I had her name removed from every financial tie. My lawyer filed a no-contest divorce, backed with enough documentation to blow a judge's mind. I left a copy of her hotel receipts, chat logs, and photos in a sealed folder, marked private, at her job's HR office. She worked at a mid-tier marketing firm that boasted about family values in their slogan. They want to know how one of their own spent client visits. That evening, my phone buzzed with the first domino. Kelly, babe, my card's not working. Did the bank mess up? I didn't respond. From a security feed on my home network, now fully routed to my laptop, I watched her storm through the front door. She threw her bag, shouted something to herself, and paced like a caged animal. Her calls kept coming. I picked up on the third. Noah, what's happening? I can't access anything. Why are all my cards declined? I took a deep breath. I know, Kelly. A beat of silence. W, what are you talking about? Chase. The affair. The spa nights. The photos. The messages. I know. More silence. It's not what you think. Please, just let me explain. I cut her off, my voice calm, ice cold. I'll let you enjoy that vacation. I'll let you walk barefoot on the beach I once thought sacred. I'll let you fake your laughs. But that's over now. Everything you built on lies. I've torn it down piece by piece. She started crying. Can we just talk? Please. We will, I said. In court. Click. I moved into my new place that night. Sleek, quiet, minimal. No photos. No traces of her old life. I poured myself a glass of scotch and looked out over the city. Her world was crumbling, and I hadn't even started the personal part. The next morning, Kelly called again. I let it go to voicemail, but her voice, shaking and desperate, lingered. I made a mistake. One mistake shouldn't erase everything we've built. I nearly laughed. One mistake. Try a year of coordinated deception, lies that layered themselves into my pillow every night. I texted her 2 words, talk to Chase. Then I sent every piece of evidence to Chase's wife, Rebecca. She was a school counselor, calm, professional, and utterly unaware. I found her contact from a shared tag in one of Chase's Facebook posts. I made sure she had it all. Screenshots, dates, hotel confirmations, time-stamped beach photos. Even the one where Kelly wore the same dress she claimed I had bought her for us. 2 hours later, Chase deleted his Instagram. Kelly called 5 more times that night. I didn't answer. Instead, I sent a message to her boss with receipts of the affair happening during company-sponsored retreats. Her job was next. I wasn't out for blood. I was out for justice. And justice was patient, precise, personal. Kelly's job suspension came faster than I expected. That Monday morning, she walked in her office dressed in her usual cream blouse and pencil skirt, ready to flash her polished smile and charm her team. But by 2 p.m., she was in the HR conference room. A sealed envelope lay on the table. Inside, photos, timelines, copies of her email and message logs, all annotated. The firm's ethics policy was strict. No fraternization during business trips. No misuse of expense accounts. No deception during company hours. Kelly had violated them all. She was placed on unpaid leave pending investigative review. Her security pass was revoked. The whispers started before she even left the parking lot. At home, she tried to call me again. I ignored it. I had more pressing matters. The next step was personal. I drove to the house where we used to spend holidays. Her parents' place. She was their golden child. Always praised. Always defended. I wanted them to know who they raised. I sat across from her father, Marshall, and her mother, Diane. They offered me sweet tea. I declined. I'm divorcing Kelly, I said calmly. They looked shocked, confused. I think she's just stressed, Diane said gently. She's been working so hard. I slid a folder across the table. Please open it. Inside, printed messages, photos of her with Chase, screenshots of her laughing about me behind my back. Marshall's jaw tightened. Diane's hands trembled. I trusted her, I said, voice even. I loved her completely, but she hollowed our marriage out from the inside. Diane burst into tears. Marshall looked like he'd been punched in the gut. They didn't argue, didn't defend, didn't say a word. I stood. I wish you both peace, but I won't be part of this family anymore. And I left. The next blow was digital. One final, quiet post on social media. Not loud, not vindictive, just the truth. 12 years. Built on loyalty, trust, and love. She gave her heart to someone else while telling me it still belonged to me. I'm done. No names. No rage. Just truth. I'm walking away. It didn't take long for people to figure it out. Kelly was unfriended. Messages disappeared. Mutual friends turned neutral. Some even reached out to me privately, apologizing for not seeing it sooner. Others said they'd always suspected something, but didn't know how to tell me. Chase. He went silent, vanished from every app. And Kelly, she kept calling. One night, around 10 p.m., my phone lit up again. I almost blocked her, but I picked up. Her voice was hollow. "Noah, please, don't shut me out." "I already have," I replied. "I lost everything. My job, my family. Chase ghosted me. My name is dirt. You earned every second of this," I said. "I didn't destroy you, Kelly. You did that all by yourself." There was a pause. Then, "You don't understand. I was lonely. I didn't feel loved. You felt bored," I said. "There's a difference. And instead of talking to me, you gambled with everything." She began crying again. "I miss you. I miss who I thought you were." Then I hung up. My lawyer finalized the documents that week. Thanks to the prenup she once teased me for, including a fidelity clause, she walked away with nothing. No alimony. No savings. No house. She had signed it all away years ago, back when she promised me forever. Now, she had no idea where forever had gone. 2 months passed. The silence was almost eerie. No texts. No missed calls. No sightings. Until one Friday afternoon outside my gym. I walked into the parking lot and froze. She was there. Kelly stood by my car, wearing a faded hoodie and torn jeans, her once perfect blonde curls tied messily in a bun. No makeup. No pretense. Just desperation. In her hands, a worn-out folder, its corners bent like her pride. "Noah," she said softly, "I'm not here to argue. Please." I said nothing, just unlocked my car and stood still. I lost my job. My dad won't take my calls. My mom cried when I tried to visit. I've been staying with a friend, but she's moving and I don't have anywhere else to go. She paused, then held the folder out. "I brought this. It's everything. Legal papers. My statement. And a letter. Just read the letter, okay?" I glanced at it. Inside were court papers agreeing to the divorce, a signed confession, and a long, handwritten letter, tear-streaked and chaotic. But one sentence stood out. "I was pregnant, Noah. The baby wasn't Chase's. It was yours." My world didn't spin. It stilled. I met her eyes. "You were pregnant?" She nodded, eyes glassy. "I miscarried. Around the time you filed for divorce. I didn't want to tell you then. I knew you wouldn't believe me." She wasn't wrong. I took a slow breath. "You think that changes anything?" "No," she whispered. "But I needed you to know. I was stupid. I was selfish. But I never stopped loving you." I tilted my head slightly. "No, Kelly. You stopped loving me the day you made a stranger your escape plan. Love isn't saying I do at the altar. It's saying I still do after a decade. And you didn't." Tears spilled from her eyes. She pressed her back against my car, folding like a paper doll. "I'm sorry. I ruined everything." I opened my door. "You didn't ruin it, Kelly. You set me free." I drove away as she crumpled behind me. Later that week, the final paperwork hit. Every asset split by law, just as the prenup dictated. She got nothing. Not because I was cruel, but because she made her choices. I heard through mutuals she tried staying with a cousin in Nevada. She got a part-time job at a boutique. No car, just ride shares and long walks in the cold. Meanwhile, I rebuilt. My new apartment, clean and modern. Minimalist. No traces of our past life. My new gym, smaller, more local. A tighter circle. My new friends, handpicked real. And the new woman in my life. Her name was Elena. Dark hair, kind eyes, a calm presence that felt like home. She wasn't flashy. She didn't try too hard. She simply was. Steady, present, loyal. We met at a financial seminar. Exchanged books. Coffee turned into conversation. Conversation turned into companionship. With her, there were no lies. No late-night spa appointments. No team building that reeked of perfume. There was just peace. 3 years later, I was no longer the man who stood on a balcony holding a glass of bourbon and heartbreak. I had turned the ashes of my marriage into the foundation of a stronger life. Business was booming. My private firm, Whitaker and Reed Financial, was now managing accounts for five-figure clients and up. Elena and I had just moved into a restored craftsman-style home in Portland. Sunday mornings were slow coffee, jazz records, and crossword puzzles. Not secrets, not suspicion. It was peace I didn't even know I'd been craving back then. One rainy afternoon, we ducked into a small bookstore downtown. Elena wandered to the fiction section while I scanned business journals. I reached for a copy of Fast Company and froze. Behind the counter, restocking a display table, was a woman with tired eyes and a crooked name tag that read, K. Whitaker. She didn't see me, but I saw her. Kelly. Her once glossy hair was dull, tied back in a limp ponytail. Her shoulders curved forward, as if the weight of everything she'd lost still clung to her bones. Her blouse was wrinkled, her movements robotic. She looked smaller, faded. I didn't approach her. I didn't need to. I left the store quietly, fingers brushing Elena's as we stepped back into the drizzle. A week later, a letter arrived at my office. No return address, but the handwriting was unmistakable. Noah, I saw you at the bookstore. You looked happy, whole. I didn't expect to see you, especially like that. I almost said something, but I knew I didn't have the right to interrupt your peace. I thought time would heal. I thought maybe the weight would lessen, but it hasn't. The way you looked at me when you found out, that look still haunts me. Sometimes I wish I could forget it, but I can't. And maybe that's the punishment I deserve. If nothing else, thank you for not destroying me more than I already destroyed myself. I read the letter once, then tucked it into the back of my filing cabinet behind old tax folders and business plans. Not out of spite, not out of longing, but out of finality, because I didn't need revenge anymore. I had outgrown it. She lived in a loop of regret. I lived in the freedom of truth. Kelly hadn't just lost a husband. She lost the only person who ever truly saw her, believed in her, fought for her before she gave up first. And the cruelest part? I didn't have to burn her world down. She handed me the match and poured the gasoline herself. The real revenge wasn't the financial ruin. It wasn't the job loss or the frozen cards or the friends who vanished. It was walking away with my integrity, my soul, and my life rebuilt. Because some betrayals don't need punishment. They punish themselves, day by day, memory by memory. And some endings don't need explosions. They just need silence and someone willing to never look back.